Okay, good evening, everyone. And I always have to find my screen. Just a second here. What happened to my Zoom screen? Good evening, everyone. Good evening and welcome. Good evening. Just a second. It got lost again. I knew that was going to happen. There we are. There we go. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Wow, I am excited about this evening. It is 7:59. We're going to give Zoom and Facebook the opportunity to catch up. In the meantime, as you sign on, if you can just pull up your chat box so that I can see your comments. And I believe that Zoom and Facebook are still trying to catch up. So I'm going to invite the debt-free lounge while I wait on all of you to get on. There we go. All right. Okay, so we have the debt-free lounge invited. And I want to be able to see your comments. There we go. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It is 8 p.m. Eastern. And I am going to go ahead and get started. I know that sometimes it takes Facebook a little bit time to kind of catch up, but I'm sure that everyone will come into the chat space, and I'm going to see if I can see it on Zoom as well as Facebook. So before I introduce myself to some, okay. Yeah, okay, well, yeah, I can see that people are coming in. So if you would just come on in and announce yourself, or just let us know what state that you are joining us from, just type that in there or say hello, give us a thumbs up, let us know that you can hear us just fine. I am Chris Roebuck. For most of you who are in the Live My Life Debt Free community, some of you are new. I want to welcome you. Welcome, Johnny May. Thank you so much for joining this evening. I want to welcome all of you who I have not had the opportunity to to welcome you to the Live My Life Debt Free community. There were several that joined this week. And the Live My Life Debt Free community is it's a community where, individuals actually like the page because they want to. It's not, anything that, I have to pull you in to do. And I really appreciate that. So for all of those who don't know who I am, and those who will replay this, because a lot of you will replay this. First of all, I want to say good evening once again. I'm Chris Roebuck, founder and CEO of Live My Life Debt Free, and I'm really, really excited about being allowed to walk alongside of all of you on your journey towards debt freedom. Live My Life Debt Free has been around for just over 7 years and counting. I'm just really excited about that. I personally have been counseling and coaching for over 35 years. It is certainly something that I've been called to do. And I love teaching people how to live a debt-free life through teaching financial literacy. So you can find out more about us at www.livemylifedebtfree.com. We are on most of the social media platforms. Instagram, we're on Facebook, Live My Life Debt Free, Twitter as well, and of course, LinkedIn. But you can certainly find out more about us. You can Live My Life Debt Free. Should you decide to become part of the community of generational wealth builders who are doing great things. And speaking of that, we do have a generational wealth builder who is with us tonight, who is certainly doing great things. And, I've been, for the past couple of weeks, my assignment was, and it just turned out to be a triple threat. And tonight I have, and that's what I call it, a triple threat, because these women, they certainly, have come into the Live My Life Debt Free community and given us so much invaluable, I'm going to say invaluable information. I mean, it's just that rich that, it's just, and I mean, it's just been so powerful and helped all of us to grow. So for the past 2 weeks, we've been speaking with individuals who have talked to us um, from the Norfolk City Councilwoman, Angela Williams Graves, who spoke to the renters and homeowners and it gave them insight on how to take advantage of funds that are available out there. She even told her personal story. Also, last week we had Mrs. Joette Claude, CEO and CEO of CEB Financial Tax and Accounting Services, who really helped us to get, set up for the tax year, coming year for 2020. So, and tonight we have Estrada Dadzie, who is here tonight. She's here tonight to speak to us on a business, from a business owner's perspective, and also to individuals concerning, their personal finances. As far as she shared a very powerful testimony. And it really did kind of shock me a little bit because, she's not. Some of us kind of, I mean, she doesn't walk in fear, but she said that, just like most of us, when the pandemic struck, sometimes we will get stuck and we will become fearful, stagnant, and not do anything. So tonight, what she is going to be doing is she's going to be sharing with us how to overcome that fear from a business owner standpoint. I mean, there's so many different areas in our business that we will, some of us probably started to wonder, how we're going to be able to continue our business, how we're going to, increase production, and so on and so forth. I'm going to let her introduce herself to you, but just to give you a little bit of information, she has been in business for more than a decade, and she is a world traveler. She is a sought after speaker. So I'm glad she told us yes. And she is a woman of faith, and she really loves what she does, and she loves people. So Estrada, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I'm so glad, really glad that you said yes. I know that your schedule is super tight, but you're an avid supporter of Live My Life Debt Free, and is definitely, you and your husband both, definitely a generational wealth builder. So thank you for being with us tonight.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yes.
And what an awesome introduction. For a second, I'm thinking to myself, who's that lady she's talking about? But, I just want to say that it's indeed an honor to speak on your platform tonight. I've, always marveled and awed at, your passion and your desire to help the masses, overcome generational debt, and the mindset, that sometimes leave them feeling hopeless and helpless. And so to be able to be here tonight, I'm just uber excited to share with everyone, and as Chris said, I've definitely I've been at this game for quite some time, but I've also served in the military. I have a background in information technology as well. And so, going into this pandemic, there were a lot of fears that I faced. So I'm really excited to talk with you about it today.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I know that a lot of Americans, first of all, thank you so much for your service. I mean, I don't know how I left that out. You are the one of the Virginia regional directors as well, in your business. And I mean, you've just done so many great things. I just couldn't remember it all, but I really, really thank you for your service, because it's because of you and your husband as well, who's ex-military, that we can live the lives that we do as Americans here. in the US. But I know that there are many Americans who is really has had some anxiety or a lot of anxiety. And I'm not speaking from a medical perspective. I'm just talking even just about the people that I know, and people that I've counseled as well, for different reasons, such as job loss and grief and financial instability, that was caused by COVID-19. When that kind of threw everybody off guard. And I know that it just kind of, a lot of people found themselves just wondering, okay, I can't leave my house when normally that's how I earn a living. I have to leave home. What am I going to do? Well, my intention in this particular platform and this particular community is to, invite facilitators who is well able to encourage and to inform us and comfort in a dark time, such as this that we've found ourselves in. Some people still have not been able to rebound. But in speaking with you, you brought out a point which I really found to be very, very interesting. And you said, even though it's a dark time, there are people that's soaring. And you caused me to remember that. And it really is true. There's a lot of people that, are having a very hard time, but there's a lot of people who are soaring even and at this particular moment. So, what exactly, when you found yourself, or when, I'll just say in March, when everything happened and the whole world had to stop, what was your initial reaction, and when did you even know that you were gripped by fear, and what did you do in order to, help yourself to be released from that?
So back in March, when all of this hit us, honestly, before it all everything was great. I was hopeful because I had that 2020 vision. I just knew that this was my year. There was nothing that you were gonna, do to stop Estrada Dadzie. She was gonna hit every goal she set to achieve. But when the pandemic happened, I mean, it literally, it left me so fearful, almost to the point of paralyzation, fear to leave the home, fear for my health and my family's future when it came to our livelihood, our business. There were many things that really just, had me captive in the moment, because we had never faced something like that before. So it was new, and I during that time, I really had to get a hold of myself, because I mean, there were nights that, I would stay glued to the TV, and I would just cry, for the numbers that were, going up when it came to the tolls of people having the virus, but also dying from it and things such as that. And so, honestly, I didn't know really what to do with myself, in that moment. All I knew is that I was a mess. I definitely needed someone to encourage me and to tell me that it was going to be okay. Because although, I was doing okay, that was the thing, I was doing okay, but watching everyone's activity around me drove the fear in me that much more. And I can be a paranoid person sometimes. So my paranoia on top of the fear of the pandemic, that was just not working well for me. And so, I had to ask myself though during that time, like, what is really driving my fear? What's the driving force behind this? And then I had to ask myself, well, really, what is fear? Because we know that, fear is false evidence that, appears real. And so what was it that I was telling myself that was the false evidence that was so real that had me, you know, cuddled up under, you know, my blankets, you know, in my house, with my Lysol spray and my Clorox wipes. You know, what was it that really, you know, had me there? And of course, in that, the feeling of uncertainty, not knowing. I mean, as we saw, there were food shortages, as we saw the supplies for the basic things that we needed to survive. There were no masks. They ran out of the K95 mask or KN. I can't remember the proper name of the mask, but they ran out of the mask, you know. And even on just a regular mask, it was so hard to find them. And you know, honestly, at that point, I wasn't even. I almost like kind of took a break from working my business for about 2 weeks, you know, because of just the fear. I was running to the grocery stores trying to buy up everything, probably contributing to, you know, the shortages, because, you know, I wanted to make sure that my household had everything that they needed in it, you know. And it was a really crazy time. But the hope for me is this book called The Miracle Morning that I had read, and it really just changed everything for me, because it really talked about, you know, having a routine and how that changes things for you. You know, the thing is that for most of us, what we fail to realize is that, like, naturally, we as humans seek certainty. Our brains are searching for that. You know, we want security and certainty in everything. But the thing is that life is not certain. You know, there's nothing. There was, even out of the best of plans that I could have had, I would have never been able to plan for a pandemic such as what we have and are experiencing, you know, right now. But what I will say, during this time of the pandemic, although it has brought a lot of anxiety, which for some can be crippling, it has also been a motivating factor for me as well to step out in faith and to do what I need to do. The thing that has carried me through, really, this pandemic has been my faith, you know, and routine. And telling myself that all I can do is all I can do, and all I can do is enough. You know, I cannot concern myself with things that are out of my control. You know, I would be banging my head on the wall if I tried to solve all the problems that, you know, I was seeing that everyone else was facing, because I was feeling the pain of what they were enduring when, as they were losing jobs. Even though, you know, my business was thriving, I still felt the pain and the worry, you know, of that, you know, the fear for them, or maybe, you know, friends and loved ones, you know, as they began to you know, struggle, you know, during those times, but also sharing the fear of what I was going through. So I had to have a, go ahead.
Oh, no, no. You might be getting ready to answer it. But I just wanted to.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you might be getting ready to answer the question, but my thought was that, okay, as a business owner, because I'm listening to you, and you said, you know, that you would just pretty much just kind of like stay inside, and you weren't alone. And let me tell you, as an entrepreneur though, and as a business owner, so, you know, what was your initial thought about your business as well? Because I know that you do genuinely care about other people. So what was your initial thought about your business? I mean, did you think about, because I know that there may be entrepreneurs who will replay this or who's on here, you know, and they probably don't know how to, because with the pandemic, it kind of threw people off track, and they don't know how to get back on, you know, or perhaps, you know, some are probably sitting and probably, you know, just reflecting and thinking about perhaps they need to, you know, change their professions. What was your initial thought too about your business? I know that it was thriving, but I mean, did you even have like just Did you even think at all about what am I going to do, or how are we going to continue to do our business? Because it's a people, business type of business. You have to do business with people. So, I mean, did that concern you at all?
Absolutely. Honestly, this thing shook me to my core. How I operate on a daily when it comes to my business totally changed, which was fearful. A lot of how I bring in income for my family is through personal connections and relationships, a lot of belly to belly time with people. And of course, in the pandemic, we were all sequestered to our homes to an extent. And so we could not meet, how we were meeting at one point. There was no going in to the office because um, I had to be at home. And so, honestly, it was a scary moment for me, for my personal business, because I just didn't know how we would sustain when the whole model of how I function on a daily, was now into question because I couldn't use that avenue. And so I had to really think of a solution, to being able to have access to people the way I did, but now do it in a different avenue. And so, of course, with technology such as Zoom, I was able to do that. And honestly, I don't like Zoom, it's something about the fear of being in front of a camera that just really takes a hold of me. So even on now doing a new medium, for my business, utilizing a new medium, the fear of, now speaking and using something that I'm, not really knowledgeable about using. And then, of course, now trying to switch, everything over, make my whole platform for my business, uh, allow it to surround that, to support it, was, very challenging. When it comes to Zoom, I mean, look at us, we're looking at each other, and so I don't know, it's like, do I look cute, or am I, presentable enough, to actually speak to someone, over Zoom. There are so many fears and stresses that, one just has, even in that. And so trying to re-strategize, find, different things for me, become a problem solver. And I guess I'll give an example. So one of our friends, she had a daughter, or should I say she has a daughter, and she's a fitness instructor. And she's always had a passion for health. And so she's always wanted to open up her own herbal or juice shop, should I say. But fear kept her from doing that, right? And because of the pandemic, though, she, of course, is a fitness coach and she can't go to the gym. So what does she do? She's at home. So now she has to problem solve. So her problem solve is, what, I'm going to finally step out on faith, and that thing, that baby that I had, that dream that I had dreamed of one day becoming, a business owner for myself, I'm going to step out in faith and start it. And the crazy thing is that she faced a lot of adversity from her friends and family. People told her, girl, you are crazy. This is a pandemic. People are not trying to spend money right now. Opening a shop right now in the midst of a pandemic is not the smart thing to do. You need to go and file for unemployment and, just, do that. But the thing is that unemployment wasn't going to pay all of her bills. She had needs that, she didn't need to do. And so what she did was she opened that shop anyway. And it's crazy because although what looked like something that people wouldn't do, because of the pandemic, people were actually doing it. Because of the pandemic, people were worried about their health. Guess what? So those little healthy juices, organic, and the herbs that she was selling, people wanted it. And not only were they willing to pay for it, but they were willing to pay premium prices for it to get it faster, to have it on auto ship and things such as that. And it's crazy. Her business boomed so much that she can't even keep inventory in to maintain giving her customers the things that they need, for the simple fact that she's in such high demand. But had she let her fear, which she had wanted to do this for about 7 years, and she just never did it. I mean, she even had family who was willing to support her and invest in opening a shop with her, but fear of failure kept her from doing it. But here it is, being under the pressure of the pandemic. And it's crazy how when you're under pressure, what can happen to you. And
Right.
when you're under pressure, that's when beautiful things are made. Just as diamonds, when diamonds are put to pressure, that's when they actually form the diamond from the coal. And in the situation with her, she was put under pressure. She had needs that needed to be met, and she realized that no one is going to rescue her. And
Mhm.
so what did she do? She stepped out in faith, and things turned out. And in that same aspect, that's exactly what I've been doing in my business. I stepped out in faith. I started using Zooms, even though that's something that
It's uncomfortable.
I don't like. And it's crazy because I saw that a lot of my clientele embraced it. It actually opened more doors for me, because people that wouldn't have sat down with me before, guess what? They all were confined to their homes. They all now had time. There was no excuse. Even if you were working from home, you could still find time now to actually sit down with me. And so then what does that provide? It provides a ray of hope, a glimmer of hope in such challenging times. And of course, when you begin to do that thing that you were afraid of, you begin to realize that you are more capable than you ever thought, and you really start believing it. And then when you
Right.
start
Right.
believing it, it's like a transformation, and you begin to do what everyone thinks is impossible, or what you even might have thought was impossible for yourself and your business.
Right. Wow. So what I'm hearing here is that, and it's so powerful, the story about your friend for one thing, and then, also about how in listening to what you did, it seems to me that you use the fear as fuel to move forward. And I think that is really, really powerful, is to use whatever it is that's gripping you, to as fuel, to propel you into the place where you really want to be, where you want to go, and where you should be. Or any of us, we shouldn't allow, like you said, you used your faith, but you also use, fear as fuel to, to break free of it and to really do something that you never, probably never would have done had COVID-19 not, struck, us in March. So that's powerful. And you said something else. You said that, all I can do is enough. And sometimes we really think that, we need to do more, when if you're doing all that you can do, that is enough. So, but anyway, that was really powerful. And so the next, well, the next question that, I had for you concerning, because just talk from an individual standpoint. I mean, you did speak a little bit. So okay, let me just back up a little bit with regard to the business owner, or the aspiring entrepreneurs, because I know that they're out there, and there's probably some individuals who had jobs, who were employees prior to COVID-19, who are entrepreneurs, or they're dreaming to become an entrepreneur. You know, since you didn't just stay underneath the covers, like you said, that you just stayed in the house underneath the covers, you've been an entrepreneur for years. I mean, you didn't allow the fear to grip you to the point to where you wouldn't go out, or that you wouldn't continue. So if you were to say one thing or a couple of things to someone who is an aspiring entrepreneur, during this time, because it seems that their entire trajectory has changed, in the way of a career, what would you say to them, or what would you encourage them to do? I heard the story about your friend, but what would you personally say,
Um,
to
Honestly, I would say to them, to do that thing that they are afraid of. You have to, know who you are. You are a warrior, even though you may not see or believe that sometimes. Um, and I will say, take the risk. The thing is that one thing that I've learned during this pandemic is that, if you do nothing, then nothing will change. You have to do something. And the thing
Wow.
is that, say like right now, this it's a great time to start a business for a lot of people. Say when it comes to maybe if you want a storefront, right, a property. Because of COVID, and a lot of people are no longer renting spaces, they have a lot of people who will actually rent you a space for next to nothing because they're just trying to get some type of money. So that dream, that baby you've been sitting on, you can actually make that thing happen right now, probably cheaper than you ever would have, been able to do before. Also, right now, the thing is that depending on what it is that you're doing, your business, it's answering a need to something, and somebody needs it. And so the thing is that you have to be driven by the purpose, and just knowing that, what you're doing is making a difference in the lives of, whoever, whatever type of business it is that you have, people need it. And so don't delay in doing it, because you may miss your opportunity to really take advantage of the moment. It's almost like the stock market, right? Of course, with the pandemic and stuff, that's and everything that's going on, the market, of course, has been good, but there are moments that it drops, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most people, when the stock drops, what do? They run and take out their
Yeah.
money, but
Mm-hmm.
they're fearful. But the thing is that true investors know that's when you hunker down and you buy more stock, especially if it's a good, stock.
Right.
And so the thing is that because they know that in time it's going to go back up. And so that's the thing when it comes to, your business right now, of course you're stepping out in faith. And yes, it's going to be challenging. When I transitioned to doing everything online, it was difficult. I wasn't as awesome at closing out a deal as I was doing it in person. And so it took a little of adjustment, but through preparation and things such as that, I was able to master it. And now things are going better. So I would tell that person to be encouraged and to know that if you build it in this season, the Lord will bless it. I mean, that's what, honestly was my message, is what he told me, is that if I build it, that he would bless it. And I'll tell you that if you build it, he will bless it. And you just have to, step out in faith. You have to challenge yourself. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's when you grow. That's when great things happen, when you are, out of your comfortability. It was comfortable for me to be home in my bed, scared, focusing on the fear of what was going on. That was comfortable. But the problem is that if I stayed in my bed under my covers and I didn't want to face really what was going to happen, what happens when the bills are due? What happens when, things in life is falling apart? My family, and whom I've been able to be a source to, I can no longer be a source to them, because I am under my blankets, crawling, in fear, of doing that thing that I know I must do. I have to do it, because if I don't do it for myself, who is going to do it? No one is coming. No one is coming, and I am a person of faith, don't get me wrong, and I know that the Lord provides, but I know that you have to do the work. We know that faith without works is dead. We know that, you cannot operate in a spirit of fear. The Lord hasn't given us a spirit of fear. What I do know is that in the Bible, it says like 365 times to fear not. Fear not. It says, fear not, for I am with thee. And the thing is that the Lord went and tell us 365 times, meaning once a day, to fear not. If he didn't know that we were going to face things that what want to cause us to stay stagnant, to stay stuck, but in that word of knowing that you are to fear not, that means that you got to keep moving despite the fear, because at the end of the day, if you don't move, what is the worst? The thing is that we focus on what negative could happen, but the thing is that instead of focusing on what negative can happen, we have to focus on what positive can happen, because what you focus on grows. So for
That's
me,
right.
when I was focusing on the negativity and I was afraid of becoming sick, I'm in my house, I hadn't went anywhere, and I'm like, oh, this is my throat, that was a symptom, your throat hurts. I'm like, oh my gosh, my throat, I might have
I'm
corona,
laughing because I
haven't went
can
anywhere, did
identify with
anything.
you.
Yeah, scaring myself to death. And of course, the more I focused on that, I started having way more symptoms, because I'm just that type of person. I can make up symptoms, for myself, and it's just appearing real. And so
But
when I began,
I'm sorry,
go ahead.
because I do want you to finish. I'm laughing because I can identify with you. While that is it's a serious thing that's taking place, what you're saying is something that most people won't say out loud. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people will not say what you're saying out loud, which is true. It's just like, okay, but I have I have a sore throat, but my temperature is great. So maybe that's not it, or maybe I'm asymptomatic, and we say all of these things to ourselves, so, but I'm sorry to interrupt you, but go ahead. But
Yeah, no worries,
I'm
but it's
laughing
true.
at myself.
Yeah, I really, fed into that. And when I fed into that, I found myself being unproductive. I found myself,
Yeah.
gaining weight, feeling a little depressed, honestly.
Mhm.
And I know that that was not, God's plan for me during this pandemic, but because I focused on the negativity, then I actually received negativity, should I say, or negative things happened because I was stagnant. I didn't do anything. But when I focused on the positivity and what I could do, because what I could do is enough. So what I could do is, take time to try to learn Zoom. What I could do is reach out to, some of my business partners and investors, ask for referrals and different things such as that. And, the next thing great things, started happening. And I'm just like, what? Like this thing works. Like, holy cow, who would have known that, I didn't have to go back to school, because that was the thing too. It's like, oh my gosh, like, am I gonna have to now start a new business? Am I gonna have to maybe, think about going to school to learn something different, because what I was doing was no longer working. But it wasn't that I needed to switch what I was doing, is I needed to switch how I was doing it so that I could still meet the needs. Because, what I do in my business, I'm blessing families, I'm changing lives, I'm making a difference. And so, yes, I faced an issue, but do I want that issue that I faced to stop me from reaching the masses? When I know that people need, what I have, especially right now. And so, I just had to figure out my way, around it.
Mhm.
The internet is our best friends now. Of course, you can go on there and look for negative things too, but you can also look for ideas of how to grow your business during these times too, that will give you ideas of how to help. Maybe, different apps and things such as that you can utilize right from your home, that will make starting your new business venture, a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah. It's true. I mean, and I think you make a great point about, for those who would say, well, I'm not tech savvy. I'm with you. I mean, I had to take a class on Zoom, in order to be able to do what we're doing tonight. So, and so I wasn't a big fan I saw other people doing it, but I was just terrified. I was like, that's not something that I could do. But we have a creative mind. Whatever it is that we want to do, if we put our mind to it, trust me, we can do it. I mean, if God allows us to think it, we can do it. He won't
Mhm.
allow us to think of something that we cannot do. You know, so yeah, we just have to, you know, step out, as you said, and you make a great point. You said faith without works is dead. You know, it's God is not going to, you know, just come inside of our house while we're under our blanket, as you said, and say,
Mhm.
okay, here's the business, here's all of the business and all of the people that you need to talk to. You know, you had to get out from underneath the blanket and do something. So that is just, that's powerful. So, you know, I'm just hearing, you know, those who are probably gripped by fear tonight, you know, you're a business owner, just listen to what Estrada is saying, you know, to you, and, you know, take hold of it. And, you know, and I always like to say, push back on whatever is push back harder on whatever is pushing on you, you know. So we just have to take control over that, over whatever, because it starts in our mind, you know, and we have to really just take back control of what is crippling our mind, which cripples our body, which causes us not to be able to move. And as I said, I'm not trying to speak from a medical perspective, but we're just talking from a business owner perspective, entrepreneur's perspective, because we know how, I think you said, we were talking the other day, you said, and we learned this in one of our sessions, I'm sure that a confused mind does nothing, you know, and also we have to really participate in our own rescue, you
Mhm.
know, and I think that the things that you're sharing tonight is, you know, is really on point. Yeah, it's on point. So from an individual perspective, I know we are individuals as well as, you know, business owners too. Um, Perhaps it would, I don't know, the advice will probably be the same or somewhat different because, you know, with the business hat or the entrepreneur hat is certainly different from your, it fuels your individual income, you know, or you know, so I don't know, just for someone who may not be an entrepreneur, and, you know, they just feel the crunch, they feel the brunt of, you know, of the pandemic, and, you know, their finances, you know, is being affected. Maybe they are in the household with an entrepreneur. I don't know. And, you know, maybe they just are feeling the pinch. You know, you know, we could probably both speak to that, but I mean, would you give the same advice, you know, for that individual? Maybe their spouse or someone is an entrepreneur, maybe they're carrying the load, or maybe they don't, maybe they got furloughed or they don't have a job, so now they, you know, don't really, you know, they're just feeling they're feeling the pinch, and they don't really know, you know, if they should say anything to the other person or whatever, you know, sometimes that happens. Does that make sense? I mean, I kind of said a whole lot of different things in there, but I think you kind of, because you were speaking from an individual standpoint and also from a business standpoint, you know, so that individual who may not be an entrepreneur, what would you, you know, how would you recommend, what would you say to them?
Now, you want to know what to say to them as far as trying to start a business, or if they're the individual carrying, like they're with the entrepreneur, like.
Well, it's two different things too.
Okay.
Well, not that they want to start a business, but, you know, perhaps they live with an entrepreneur who, you know, like you see, like we know sometimes, I mean, some months are going to be better than others.
Mhm.
They live with an entrepreneur, but perhaps, you know, I'm just trying to paint a picture of, you know, with this household being struck by COVID-19, and, you know, maybe the other person is, you know, is concerned about the income of the entrepreneur not coming in, but won't really say anything about it. You know, could be lot of different scenarios. You know, some people probably they've become a one income household, so that could be that individual who's not an entrepreneur. Now you're really holding, the responsibilities, on their own. And then you have another household who could be, the individual, that person may not have a job at all, and they live with an entrepreneur. It's kind of like a lot of hypotheticals, but it's real situations, real people
Absolutely.
that's dealing with these kind of things. So, and it can be discouraging, you know?
Absolutely. And, I would tell them not to lose faith.
Mhm.
And of course, during this time, I mean, the thing is, it's important if you have a spouse or a significant other, it's very important to, speak about finances with them. During this pandemic, it's so important to have a game plan of how you're going to spend your finances, because, maybe before the pandemic, you were always getting your hair done every week. Before the pandemic, you were getting your nails done every 2 weeks. And,
Right.
not only were you, getting them done, but maybe you had all the glitz and glam, added
Right.
to it, and, it was racking up the bill. Maybe before the pandemic, you were going out to eat 24/7, and you could do those things because the finances were there. But now, that, you're with, someone who, maybe their finances has changed a little, or maybe as a whole, the household's finances has changed. Now is the time to actually look for different avenues of how you can actually save some of the money, how you can cut back, decide what you need and don't need. Maybe we need to cut off our cable, temporarily, because that's not something that, I need, especially with online streaming. I mean, you can get a lot of the information and see a lot of shows and not have to pay, that high price.
That's true.
Maybe when it comes to even your food, it's now we're gonna meal plan. I'm gonna budget out, I'm gonna think of cost effective foods that we can eat, so that, that cost less, and that, but we'll stretch and we'll utilize, that for now while things are a little, tight. Because the thing is that you don't want to, sometimes when it comes to your business, you want to let it go. But no, most of the times it's sometimes it's the heat of feeling this, the pressure of knowing that, dang, it's
Mhm.
a pandemic and I want to be there for my spouse and I'm not able to do it. That pain that they feel in that moment also is the pressure that helps to make the diamond, for them. So I wouldn't, give up on them, in that. Trust and believe in, encourage them, because, they need encouragement. They're doubting it too. And trust me, they don't feel good about it too. When you're supposed to bring to the table and you're not bringing to the table,
Right.
it's not a good feeling.
That's right.
It's very demeaning for one, to endure that, and to even, admit it, to their spouse when they have, high hopes for it. So, I mean, I would utilize sites. So one of my favorite sites that I utilize, because, we talk about like a lot of the cashback sites. Well, they have this site called cashbackmonitor.com. And when you go to cashbackmonitor.com, what I love about it is that whatever like stores that you like to utilize, I normally type it in the search box. So say for instance, it's Macy's. I will type in Macy's. And then once it searches, it shows you like how much cash back that I can get by shopping with Macy's. Now I'm already going to shop with Macy's or Walmart or whatever the other stores it is that, your household may be utilizing. And they have a vast variety of things that are on there. I go and I utilize that platform, because what it does too is it shows me every cashback offer. Every program that's out there is on that particular site. So you're going to ensure that you have the most coming back into your household. And for me, that's been a winning thing. Let me tell you, now that I have cut back on getting my nails done, Estrada does not have her nails done,
Yeah.
and I do my hair, one time out of the month, and I still go just once, but
Yeah.
I cut back on my hair one hair appointment than what I used to do. But I've now been investing that money. I've been buying stocks, which has been blessing and helping my household. And so that can be the difference maker, for you and your household. It's sometimes we have to just take a deep breath, because the thing is that, when you're drowning and you're panicking, you are sinking yourself quicker and faster than you will ever know. So the thing is that when you are drowning, you have to like have a come to Jesus moment and calm your spirit. You have to calm yourself, because when you calm yourself and you are still, guess what will happen? You will begin to float back to the top without your own efforts. And that's the thing, sometimes we're doing all of this flaring and we're, living in the fear, we are being hard on our spouse because they're not bringing to the table. And I'm feeling the pressure because, especially if it's a woman and a man, and God didn't create woman to be the head to provide like that. So now I am carrying the whole load, and your butt over there sitting on the couch, when you're supposed to be working your business, like, that can bring a lot of stress and pressure, on into the household. But, in those moments, you have to focus on what you can do. You have to strategize, talk it over with your spouse. You agree to work business working hours. The thing is that if you have an entrepreneur at home, then, the thing is, the hardest thing for one is to be their own boss. I'll never forget, walking away from the military and deciding to be my own boss, forcing myself to get out of bed, to have a schedule when I know I didn't have to answer to anybody but myself. And answering to myself says Estrada needs to go back to sleep. But my bills and my family, my dreams said Estrada better get her tail up, and so, that's the thing for, most of the entrepreneurs, you have to do the work. If you're going to have the dream, you have to be able to put in the work to yield the reward, to yield the fruit that you want. You have to plant the seeds, so that the harvest will come. But if you're not willing to plant the seeds, or if you're just throwing the seeds on the ground, you can't guarantee that there will be a harvest. But if you plant the seeds and you nurture it, for sure, you can guarantee. You don't know when it's going to happen. So for that spouse who's being patient, you don't know when it's going to happen, but you can guarantee that it will happen. And it's crazy because, of course, when it came to, my husband and I, I just didn't believe that it was going to happen. I wasn't really the supportive spouse when it came to being an entrepreneur. I'm thinking, you are crazy. I didn't like the pressure of the demand, and right. I had a fear of, well, what if I can't get it done? Then what? Working a job just seems so easy because it's stable, and it's consistent, should I say. It doesn't mean you're gonna make more. It just it's consistent. But the stress that comes with that, the less family time that I might get, enduring, all of that, trying to work a job versus, stepping out on faith, and doing that thing which I know I can do if I do it diligently. If you're diligent in your pursuit, nothing can stop you from accomplishing that task. So, right. Keep fighting the fight, family, and all will be well.
That's right. That's right. Well, I want to see if there are any questions tonight. I'm going to try to get over on the other side as well, and perhaps get you to answer a couple of questions if I can bring them up. This has been awesome.
And also, I'll say, while you're pulling up the questions, is that a thing that has helped me during the pandemic is practicing gratitude, being grateful for what I have. I know that, sometimes we can feel that, we don't have enough, but the thing is that somebody is praying for what you have right now.
Wow.
In every situation. And so, things can always be worse. So just being grateful for what you have, appreciating what you have so that you can move to the next level. Because sometimes when you don't appreciate what you have, it's really hard to move to the next level. Yes, I have a business and maybe my business isn't going the way I want it to go because there's been such a transition. But, I'm grateful that, I do have this business. I have an opportunity. I just haven't quite figured out how, I haven't figured out the how. But the great thing that I love about the Lord is what I've been saying already is that, it's not in the knowing, it's in the doing. When you do, that is the true test of your faith. That is the true blessing. It's in the doing. When you do that thing, you just watch out. You watch for the manifestation of all that you have desired come to pass, should I say.
That's right. All right. That's good. That's good. This has been great. I put a note there to have them to post their questions, and I'm going to look at another place real quick. Okay, yeah, no, I don't see it there. Yeah, no, this has been, I know that for those who will replay this, I mean, this has really been refreshing, to say the least. And, you know, you've made some great points. What I was doing was I was scribing a few things, a few of your points, great points. I just post them inside of our chat here tonight so that those who will replay it will see those very, very important, important points that you shared with us. Oh, I do have a question here. Did you set your financial goals during this? Did you set your financial goals during this on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis? Quarterly goal. Oh, during COVID. She said, did you set your financial goals during COVID on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly? Did you have weekly, monthly, or quarterly goals? Thank you, Sister Cox, for asking this question.
Well, absolutely. Actually, I did. I set it for all of them because, of course, I set, really yearly goals, and then I break my yearly goals down into quarters, which breaks down into monthly, which breaks down into, weekly goals. So I do, set a goal that I hope to achieve, but I don't beat myself up over it if I don't achieve, the goal too. But that is my fuel. It's my guiding point to make sure that I'm able to accomplish, all that I am, setting out to accomplish. So yes, it's vitally important to set goals to help, have discipline for yourself inside of your business.
So during COVID, was this was this before COVID also that you did this, or so did you change? You didn't change what you were doing. You didn't change what worked before COVID. You still, you started back doing what you were doing prior to COVID. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Going into the year, I had already had a goal, of what I wanted to achieve, financially, for, myself, my family for the year. And so really, I just kind of broke that down. Of course, all COVID did was shake it up and make me doubt if I'd be able to accomplish that. But it's crazy because I've been able to double my income since COVID, and I had a really good year last year. So it's crazy how that happens. But the thing is that it's sticking to the plan, even when it doesn't seem like the plan is working. You just got to know that, as you keep working the plan consistently, that you will see the results in the end, and so of course, my 2 weeks that I was in the bed, honestly, I didn't make the income that I wanted to make. I mean, thank goodness I do have residual income, so I did make some income, but it definitely wasn't the type of income that I was used to making. But once I got out of the bed, I knew that I had financial goals that I needed to make up. So now, hey, maybe I'm working an extra hour or 2 hours out of my day to make up that income, so that by the end of the month, I would, have actually reached my goal. And if I, am not able to reach it, then, of course I have to, re-strategize how I'm going to do things, because of course, most people are making their plans based off of their expenses, based off of things that they want to do. So it's not like you can always allow yourself to lose in those areas, should I say. It's very important that you actually answer the call on reaching those goals.
Well, I have a comment here, and then we're going to close. This has been just phenomenal. I've enjoyed the chat. But Sister Cox, she made a great point, and I can relate to what she's saying. She said, ironically, she found that during COVID that she managed her financial and other goals better this time.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it's amazing how, a tragedy, or not necessarily a crisis, can cause us, it can make you or break you, and I know that, and it can have an effect emotionally, on so many people, to the point, like you said, it will paralyze you to the point of stagnation. And I've talked about, not being stagnant, so much this year, and just really trying to encourage people to stay focused. And for everyone who will replay this is kind of like our closing message. I'm just encouraging everyone to stay focused, don't lose hope, and, just to continue, to stay connected to positive, like-minded people, because the worst thing that you can possibly do is to get connected and link up arms with someone who is negative, and, is not able to lift you up, or you be that person, to lift someone else up. So, I really appreciate, your time, and appreciate all of the information. I scribed as much as I could. I did take notes, so I will be posting more of those in the forum. I do want to announce, though, December the 5th, and this is going to hold my feet to the fire, but December the 5th at 9 a.m., I will be teaching a class, concerning, helping you to get a strategy for 2021. It's usually called Vision 20. It's usually called whatever the year is, Vision 2020, Vision 2019-18. I started this back in 2018. And I was not going to do it this year, but I have decided that I am going to do it. So we will be talking about a strategy for 2021. You will be able to see that flyer posted in the next couple of weeks, in the Live My Life Debt-Free community and the Debt-Free Lounge. Okay, we just had everyone who is joining us now, if you missed it, you can replay this video later. It's just been an incredible evening with Estrada Dadzie. I really, really appreciate. We talked about a broad range of things, and I just really hope that somebody is encouraged after they see this this evening. If your business production is down, I hope that you're encouraged in that, it'll give you that boost that you need, to just get up and get back out there and find a different way to make things happen, as Estrada mentioned tonight, that may be uncomfortable for you. It might be time for you to change and to increase, your skill set, so I'm just, wow, I'm excited, and I'm happy about this triple threat. We've done this for 3 weeks, and it's been incredible. All of the videos are there. I will be posting these videos or uploading them into my YouTube channel as well. And you all will definitely be finding out more about my YouTube channel. It's been around for a little while, but I am getting all of the videos, over to YouTube. There's quite a few over there now, but you'll definitely be able to find this one over there. But December 5th, 9 a.m., we're going to be talking about a strategy for 2021. If you don't have a strategy for your personal finances for 2021, you definitely want to join me December the 5th, right here in the Live My Life Debt-Free community. All of the information concerning that class will be posted in the next couple of weeks. So you'll start seeing that flyer. We do have some other things that's going on. Every third Wednesday, we have a Generational Wealth Builders prayer call. So please join us at 7 a.m. Every third Wednesday. I believe it's the 21st of November, is our next prayer call. Your faith and your finances belong together. Sometimes we feel like we can just handle our money. We want God to handle everything else, but we don't want to pair our faith with our finances. So we just come together, pray, and believe and trust God for what he is doing in our lives and our finances. So everyone, please give Estrada some heart love and, tell her thank you for her time tonight. I surely appreciate her being with us. And, we will definitely have her back at some point in time. She didn't know that I was going to say that, but I sure will be asking her again to come back. You can't see the hard love, but I can. Thank you so much for just sending her, that kind of love. It's well deserved. But those of you who replay, you can surely contact me at livemylifedebtfree.com/contact. Livemylifedebtfree.com/contact. I am also going to be making my my availability known as far as financial counseling as well. I have not been doing that on a consistent basis. It's been more word of mouth and referrals, but I am available for financial counseling, and I will be posting that in the forum as well. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We're going to sign off. Estrada Dadzie, thank you, thank you, thank you. And please tell Mr. Will Dadzie I said thank you as well for letting me be with us tonight. Good night, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. Have a great
Amen.
good night.